Alright, let's get to the real meat of this. No fluff. We're diving in head first, and I'm going to smack you with the truth. Tough, no nonsense. But all for your own good. We're going to rewire your mind, and I'm going to make it stick. First things first, you already do this. You've already been using these techniques. You just don't realize it. Let's start simple. You ever been in a conversation where you just knew exactly how to read the room? Like you can see that someone is holding something back. And you know they need a little nudge. So you change your tone or shift the conversation a bit to make them feel comfortable enough to open up. That's masking. You're already doing it naturally, but you've been using it as a survival tool. Now, let's make it a freaking superpower. How you already do it. Think about every time you've been in a situation where you didn't quite feel safe showing your true self. Maybe it was at work, with friends, or even in a family gathering. You put on that mask, right? You acted like you were fine, even though you might have been bubbling inside. Maybe you told a joke, adjusted your tone, or changed your posture. Your brain switched gears real fast because it was protecting you, keeping you out of the line of fire. Now here's the thing. You did it unconsciously, just like you breathe. But it doesn't have to be like that. What if you could choose how you wear that mask? What if instead of doing it because you're afraid or trying to fit in, you used it because you're intentionally creating a version of you that's even more powerful and in control? That's the upgrade that we're talking about here. Now how can you do this in new ways? Instead of only using your mask to protect yourself, what if you started using it to empower yourself? Here's the kicker. The brain loves to conserve energy. So when you're on autopilot and masking, it's doing it in the easiest way possible, often in ways that don't serve you. It's like you're using an old, busted toolkit. So it's time to upgrade to something better. Here's how. Chunk up. Look at the big picture. Start thinking about the bigger purpose behind why you're masking. Is it to fit in? Cool. Now ask yourself, what would it look like if I chose to fit in, but on my terms? Instead of just blending, how could I shine while doing it? Chunk down. Break down the tiny details that make you feel small. Think about a time you felt like you were not enough. What was happening at that time? What was the body language, the tone? Now reverse engineer that. How could you have made it work for you instead of against you? Feel it. This isn't just about thinking it through. It's about sinking into it emotionally. Feel your power. When you put on that mask, don't just put it on because you have to. Do it because it's a conscious choice. You're channeling your inner voice. You're choosing who you want to be in this moment. So why is this important? Here's why. Your brain, it's a freaking problem solver. It's constantly trying to find shortcuts. The more you teach it to reframe situations, the more it'll fire off those neural circuits. Your brain wants to succeed. It just doesn't always know how. So when you tell it, I'm going to use this situation to grow, your brain listens and it figures out how to make that happen in ways you can't even imagine yet. Now let's talk now about why it's so powerful. The brain is all about survival. We're wired to be alert, to avoid danger, and most importantly, to fit in with the tribe. That's how we survived back in caveman days. If you didn't fit in, you didn't survive. But here's the thing. The world isn't like that anymore. Your brain It doesn't need to mask out of survival anymore. It can mask out of choice. By changing how you mask, you get to stop being a prisoner to your environment, your fears, and the people around you. Instead, you control the mask. You decide how and why you're wearing it, and that's everything. What does science say? Let's break it down. Your brain, your amazing brain, it's split into two parts: the limbic system, emotion, and the prefrontal cortex, logic. When you mask, you're actively putting the brakes on your emotional brain. You're calling in your logical brain to take control and to hide what's going on under the surface. Cool, right? But here's where it gets interesting. When you engage in these masking behaviours, you actually activate different parts of your brain, like the anterior cingulate cortex, which helps with conflict monitoring. It's like you're switching on the hustle mode in your brain. But here's the catch. When you do this unconsciously, you're creating inner conflict. That's why you get exhausted or frustrated. You're pushing your brain into overdrive. But when you learn to consciously choose when and how to mask, you're effectively training your brain to move more efficiently. You're telling it, I'm in control of this. That's when the magic happens. So why are you afraid to do it? Let's be real, you're afraid of what others think. You're afraid if you let people see the real you, your weirdness, your emotions, your quirks, they'll judge you, reject you, or even worse, laugh at you. And yeah, that fear can be paralyzing. But here's the thing. That fear is the thing that's holding you back from your greatness. The fear of rejection, judgment, or being misunderstood. It's the thing that keeps you small. The more you give in to it, the more you feed that little voice that says, don't be yourself, it's dangerous. So here's the kicker. If you keep that fear in the driver's seat, you're never going to get anywhere. You've got to get over it, and fast. The relationship between confusion and change. Confusion, it's like the brain's pause button. It's a sign that something is about to change. It's like when you're listening to a song and suddenly there's a key change that throws you off for a second. Your brain gets disoriented. That's when it becomes open to being led. Your mind is like, wait, what? I need to figure this out. And boom, that's when the magic happens. That's when the change sticks. What are the top patterns we get stuck in? People pleasing. You're constantly trying to make everyone happy at the expense of yourself. It's draining. You suppress your needs, your emotions, your true desires, and it fucks with your energy. Perfectionism. Try to control everything so nothing goes wrong. Guess what? That's a massive energy suck. It's a loop of fear and doubt that keeps you spinning in circles. Avoidance. Running from conflict, from difficult conversations, from challenges. It feels safer, but all it does is breed resentment and self-doubt. So how do you break out of it? You break out by interrupting the pattern. Every time you catch yourself in one of these loops, you call bullshit on it. You pause, you switch gears. You reframe the situation. Tell yourself, this is not the end. This is the beginning of me getting better. This is me taking control. And here's where we bring it all together. Pace and lead them. What does that mean? It means you speak their language first. You get where they're coming from, and then you gently guide them to where you want them to go. You match their energy and then lead them higher. You do this because you know deep down everyone wants change. They just don't know how to get it. Here's the thing. The reason you've been stuck in the past is because you're still playing small. You're still trying to fit in. Trying to be what others want you to be. But that stops now, today. You start masking on your own terms. You use it to move forward, to change, to create the life that you actually want. It's time to stop being a slave to your fears and start being the master of your own damn reality.